Now, as we're talking about how to overcome rejection and how to cope with it, another kind of rejection that we all have to deal with is related to our jobs or our careers. And this is really common. We experience a lot of rejection professionally when you think about it. Everything from professional networking, where you follow somebody on LinkedIn and they leave you hanging, don't follow you back, to a super intense interview process where maybe you tried really hard to land a job and you didn't get chosen. And people get fired, people get laid off. This kind of professional rejection happens all the time. And heaven help you if you're an entrepreneur, because the experience of being in business is trying things that not unfrequently fail and taking more than a few in the face. It's putting yourself out there, putting a lot of time, energy, money, effort, resources into different initiatives. And hopefully some of them work, but the reality is that a lot of them won't. And that can feel like a profound rejection, particularly if you have a lot attached to your professional identity. This type of rejection stings. So, how do we cope with professional rejection? The same things that we've been talking about in general apply to this too: resilience and growth. Generally speaking, but not always, professional rejection can be somewhat less emotionally traumatic than a personal or romantic rejection, but not always. I have known plenty of people who have been severely traumatized on the job in a variety of different ways. This is a thing, but this is also why these resilience factors are so important to be thinking about in our professional lives. To cultivate emotional resilience after a professional rejection, it's very important to be honoring and legitimizing your feelings and making it okay to not be okay. There is a myth in our culture that strong people don't feel badly, that they don't take it hard when they go through situations like this where they get rejected. And that is not true. The most emotionally resilient people are the ones who give themselves permission to feel all the feels deeply and not feel badly about it. So that's the first step, is allowing yourself to feel as bad as you need to feel, owning it, claiming it, crying, talking about it, and having that be okay, because your acceptance of yourself will build emotional resilience. Another critically important thing when you're going through any type of professional rejection is to manage your mindset. So what are you telling yourself about why this didn't work out? You didn't get the job, or you got fired, you got laid off, whatever. Is it because you are a horrible failure that messes up everything and is generally incompetent? Is that the mental narrative? If so, it's really important to notice that and then begin actively working on changing that, because you cannot allow yourself to spin down the drain that is this negative spiral that is coming from the way you are narrating the story to yourself, the way that you are making meaning of this situation, the way that you are denigrating yourself, shaming yourself, criticizing yourself. Nothing good comes out of this. It is not helpful, and it will make you feel terrible. So growing more resilient is fundamentally about learning how to spot when these unhelpful narratives are happening, and then learning how to gently move yourself back into a better place through the way that you talk to yourself. If you want to learn more about how to mind your mindset, you can check out another podcast I did entitled Mind Your Mindset. I'll put a link to it here for you. But also a piece of this is being able to stay reality-based. Don't personalize it, maintain a healthy perspective, and also practice these cognitive shifting strategies that allow you to see the multidimensional nature of these type of business situations. Particularly in business, there are often many different things that are all simultaneously true all at the same time. There could be stuff going on with your employer that has nothing to do with you. There are financial considerations, different things, maybe priorities are shifting organizationally, things that you have absolutely no control over. But also to not fall into this disempowered mindset where everything is being done to you, because it's also true that there could be important lessons for you related to this experience, and it would be to your detriment to not be doing some reflection that allows you to learn and grow from this experience. So in service of your growth, do some thinking about, what did I learn? Is this an opportunity for me to develop a more balanced thinking perspective where I'm able to not just focus maybe on the things that I could have done better, but also to take into the whole picture of what was going on in the business and the culture, that you didn't get a job or that you lost a job, that are so multidimensional. Ageism is a thing. Business owners can make dumb and weird decisions, particularly if they're running a business on instincts, rather a process. There can be all kinds of politics when it comes to hiring and firing decisions. So there's a lot there, but it's important for you to get visibility into that and find a cohesive new narrative that feels helpful and empowering and instructive for you rather than damaging to you. But I would also never deprive you of the opportunity for a solid growth experience. And so also considering, why did you get fired? Just between you and me, how were your time management skills or productivity skills? Were you doing things in alignment with expectations? Were you getting negative feedback that you weren't listening to? Were you getting into fights with your coworkers or being difficult to work with in some ways? Like it is to our detriment to not be reflecting on some of these, because if there is stuff for you to work on, you need to work on it, and to be pushed into contact with the fact that, oh, maybe I do have stuff to work on. It is not anything to feel bad about. It is a gift, particularly if you can turn that into motivation to have that be different. Who do I need to grow into in order to have a better experience in my professional life next time around? And then also, what do I need to do specifically in order to develop those skills and abilities to make that happen for myself? That is incredibly empowering. And of course, if you are interested in doing any kind of that work with the professionals in my practice here at Growing Self, we do have a subspecialty of career counseling and coaching and professional development that is very different than what you'll find elsewhere, because all of the career counselors and coaches on my team are licensed therapists who specialize in career counseling, which is a very different experience than connecting with a career coach who knows how to help you shine in an interview and work on your resume. At Growing Self, our career counselors go very deep into some of these mental, emotional, growth, resilience types factors that we've been talking about on today's show. So much for spending this time with me today on Love, Happiness, and Success, where we talked about how to cope, and not even cope with rejection, but really use the experience of rejection as a transformational growth opportunity. It leads to increased resilience and also growth for you that flows into your life in really great ways, so that you know how to have the experience of rejection in a way that allows you to do something so positive and so constructive with it. I hope that you've gotten lots of takeaways from this conversation. And of course, there's so much more for you. You can come to my website, growingself.com, book a free consultation with one of our experts if you'd like to talk more about your growth journey one-on-one, but also take advantage of so many of my free resources. Go to the resources tab of my website, and then additionally, if you check on the blog and podcast section of my website, you can enter into all of these different content collections. And this is particularly helpful for you if through this reflective process that we've been talking about today, you're able to identify some areas where you could use some extra support. Maybe your goal right now is to work on building resilience, and go into the mental and emotional wellness collection, and you'll find so many articles and podcasts that will give you more insight, clarity, and direction on how to build yourself in those areas. And you might also find that you have growth opportunities. How do I develop skills that will be to my advantage in this next chapter of my career? I have content collections and so many resources on all of these topics. I make them for you. I hope that you take advantage of them. So come to my website, growingself.com, and dig in. All right, that is it for today. Thanks for staying with me, and I will be back in touch next week with another episode. Until then, take care.